Oh, thank you so much, Karen. My name is Paul, and I'm an alcoholic. And it's good to be here, and it's good to be sober. And I want to thank the group for giving me the opportunity to do service tonight. It's always a great privilege and honor to be asked to speak at a meeting of AA, and one I don't take lightly. And I've actually been to Kingsport, Tennessee in person, had a wonderful time, a lot of lovely Tennessean hospitality. And it's good to be with you tonight, even though it's in Zoom form. And as you probably saw there, I'm coming to you from Rockaway Beach, New York City. I don't know if you know Rockaway Beach, it's a big Irish American neighborhood. And people who are not even in AA, they'll say, oh, Rockaway Beach, the Irish Riviera. We know it better than AA cirrhosis by the sea. In fact, there's two types of people in Rockaway Beach, those that are in AA and those that should be in AA. So you're looking for 12-step work, feel free to come and see us here. I was actually on a Zoom meeting one night, and a lady says, I'm from Rockaway Beach, Oregon, and we're famous for inventing the corn dog. What is Rockaway Beach, New York City famous for? I said, we're famous for falling asleep drunk on the beach and waking up just in time to see your clothes floating off to the horizon. But thankfully, it's like that today. Anyway, I would have such a pleasure to be here. And if there's anybody new, I know we've got a lot of people here tonight. I just want to welcome you to Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not here to sell AA. This sells itself. This is attraction, not promotion. But I will tell you this, and I don't mean cash and prizes. You cannot get where I'm sitting tonight from where I came from without Alcoholics Anonymous. It's an impossible journey. And why do I continue to come to AA? I know how the movie goes, but I wouldn't miss it. To see someone coming into a meeting, whether it's bricks and mortar on Zoom, on the worst night of their life, and be given the grace not to drink. And I'm a great believer that AA is so much more than grace, it's mercy. And the definition of mercy I like the best is entering into the chaos of another person's life. And that's exactly what AA did for me back in August of 1992. When the few people left in my life was going that way, the only people coming this way was Alcoholics Anonymous. And they carried this message. My message might even keep me sober. They carried this message. And if you're new here tonight, what is the message of Alcoholics Anonymous? It was read there tonight. And our first step, I have a body that won't let me drink, and a mind that won't let me stop. One drink creates a thirst I can't quench. When I control my drinking, I don't enjoy it. When I start to enjoy my drinking, I can't control it. With your help, and this is a testament to AA, with your help, I haven't had a drink since the first night I got here back in August of 92. But I know tonight, and I hope I don't forget tomorrow, you put one drink in me tonight, not five, not 10, one drink tonight, destination unknown. And that's what showed up here. And these beautiful people, this beautiful program, have brought me to this beautiful program to a place. We talk about happy, joyous, and free. There's a dear friend of mine that's passed away now, and he used to say, because of Alcoholics Anonymous, I'm safe and I'm sane and I'm sober. I'm sitting here tonight in my home and I'm safe and I'm sane and I'm sober. Is my life perfect? Absolutely not. I've got problems just like every other person, but I'm free. The handcuffs of alcohol have been taken off, and right now the bondage of self has been removed. And if you're new here tonight, please, if you hear nothing else, get right into the middle of Alcoholics Anonymous. And we're all sitting, there's over 100 people here tonight. Why do we come here? I'm sitting in New York City, and if I looked out that window, I can see the Manhattan skyline. And there's a church in there called Calvary Church. Many of you know about AA history. We used to have early Oxford group meetings there where Bill Wilson used to go to. Actually, have AA meetings there today. And there was a famous Reverend Sam Shoemaker. And he wrote this beautiful poem, Why I Stand at the Door. And why do we stand at the door? There's people here sober tonight. Why do we continue to stand at the door, whether it's virtual or bricks and mortar? Because we talk about the different steps of AA. You know the hardest step in AA? It's the doorstep. And why do we stand at the door? To reach out into the darkness and help that new person over the hardest step, whether bricks and mortar or virtual, over the doorstep into Alcoholics Anonymous. It even says in our big book, why do we have meetings? Not for me to run my mouth, to show the new people our way of life. I mean, it's an incredible here, two lives in one lifetime. And that's what kept me coming back. Especially in the early days of AA, when you're counting literally single digit days. I mean, don't get me wrong, the steps are important, their traditions are important. But in those early days, when you're literally standing in the vestibule of AA, you're not all the way in and you can very quickly go all the way out. It was those random acts of kindness that allowed me to come all the way in and sit all the way down. I remember going to a meeting not 2 miles from where I'm here tonight. And I'm back the following week. I was a week sober. And this guy says, Paul, right? I says, yeah. He says, you were here last week at your first meeting. I said, I was. He says, you have 7 days. Good for you. I almost broke down and cried. This guy remembered my name. He remembered that I was 7 days sober and he and welcomed me again. Don't get me wrong, the steps and traditions are extremely important, but those early days, that unconditional love, those random acts of kindness, and that's what I want to say to people here that's new tonight. You know, you might be in a lot of pain, but lean into Alcoholics Anonymous. Let somebody in. If I'm doing A alone, I'm not doing AA. If a friend of mine says it's BB, I said, what's BB? He says, I don't know, but it's not AA, you know? It's sort of hard telling jokes on Zoom. It's like telling jokes in the graveyard at midnight. You're not really sure if anybody's laughing, you know? I think to myself, here, get right into the middle of AA. There's a there's a line in the chapter 4 in the big book that talks about we used to believe in a flat earth, right? I'm a great believer that the AA world is a flat earth. If you go to the edge of AA, you're going off. And the thing about going to the edge of AA, it's a drift. It's almost a glacial drift. And you know, as you're going to you're gone. And by the time you get to the edge of AA, if there's any signposts, the lines you don't speak anymore, and lines you don't understand anymore. Because we speak a certain language in Alcoholics Anonymous. My disease speaks a certain language too. My disease operates from the neck up. My disease wants me talking to me about me. That's a conversation that never ends well. And I get caught in this circular conversation. I mean, you think about it, our whole fellowship and our steps and our program is designed for one thing. See, I think this is where the big show's going on. Lights, camera, action. This program and these people drag me some days kicking and screaming out of here into here. Because the language we speak in AA is the language of the heart. I hope tonight I don't talk to an alcoholic. I hope tonight I don't talk at an alcoholic. I hope and pray I never get up on the spiritual hilltop and talk down to an alcoholic. What is AA? If you bring it down to its simplest form, it's one alcoholic talking with another alcoholic to remove feelings of differentness and separateness and uniqueness. I am you and you are me. And we're all in this together. I love that we're a fellowship of equals. Our fellowship is it's horizontal, not vertical. It's egalitarian, not a hierarchy. I mean, you stay in here for a while, you'll get longevity, but not seniority. If I think I'm better than somebody else because I'm here a few 24s, shame on me. This is God's economy, and everyone in here tonight has got worth and value. And what is the coin of the realm? Our experience, strength, and our hope. There's a line I misquoted for years in AA. I would have said, how it was, what happened, and how it is today. It doesn't say that. It says how we were, what happened, and how we are today. I mean, there's such power in that. That's what kept me coming back to AA. You know, some people say, oh, I don't want to go into a drunken log. I don't want to go into the crash bang wall. I don't understand that. We are a storytelling community. That's what connects us is our stories. Ernie Gears wrote that great book about taking to the AA campfire. We sit round the AA campfire, and that's where we bring up the new person and we say, sit down, throw your log onto the fire, and tell us your story. And everybody's story has got worth and value. I mean, it is the only place I know in the world where the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. And everybody. So if you're new here tonight, I want to welcome you. I don't think you've got to meet AA. Drop an anchor where you are tonight, and AA will meet you exactly where you are. You don't got to meet AA. My own story, why am I an alcoholic? Was I born an alcoholic? Did I become an alcoholic? Was it nature? Was it nurture? Was that a symptom looking for disease? I don't know, and I could care less tonight. I love what a big book says. We cannot answer the riddle above my pay grade. I just accept the fact tonight that I'm an alcoholic. I mean, everything I really need to know is my name is Paul, and I am an alcoholic. That tells me who I am. It tells me what I am. It tells me where I am. And the old timers didn't tell me, oh, Paul, your life's going to get better. They said, you make that the central fact of your life, that your name is Paul and you're an alcoholic on a daily basis. Your life may not get better, but you will get better. I mean, it's a funny place. I probably found out in the first 90 days everything I needed to know. I mean, it's a funny place. They don't tell you 100 different things one time. They tell you three or four things 100 times over. I got to hear it over and over. I learned 2 plus 2 is 4 once in my life, never to learn it again. The fact that I'm powerless over alcohol and my life's unmanageable, drunk or sober, if I'm running it, that's something I've done, not learn, experience on a daily basis. Because this is not intellectual. AA is organic. It's living, it's breathing. I got to hear your experience, strength, and hope. As a dear friend of mine says, we all sing off the same song sheet. We just have got different voices. And I need to hear from everybody. Now, my own story there, I know this is not everybody's story, but I believe I was alcoholic from the very first drink. And this may come as a shock to some people here tonight, but I'm not from the neighborhood originally. It's many years now since I left my native Cuba. I'm from Northern Ireland, a place called Belfast. And the sort of neighborhood I came from, you didn't drink, you moved. Everybody drank. And I remember as a thing that plays out in neighborhoods, a bunch of young kids, we got an older kid to get his drink, and we're standing up a back alley in Belfast, about 14 or 15 years of age, and they're passing around the bottle, and it came to me. And I put that bottle to my lips. I know the holidays are coming up here. I love that Christmas, Charles Dickens, A Christmas Carol, because it's such an allegory for life, right? You've got the ghost of the past and the present and the future. When I was taking that first drink up that back alley at 14 years of age, if the ghost of my alcoholic future had a tapped me on the shoulder and said, hold on a second, I want to show you where you're going to be in 15 years. Look in that window. You see that guy drinking round the clock against his own will? You see that guy who pushed away everybody who loved him for drink? You see that guy that's got quicksand stretched around him in all directions? That will be you in 15 years. I'd say, you're out of your mind. You must be thinking of somebody else. But that's exactly what happened. This disease, my God. In the Merchant of Venice, Shylock just wanted 1 pound of flesh. It's not this disease. It'll take my job, my car, my wife, my kids, It'll take the shirt off my back. But what it really wants is me 6 feet under. There's a lot of terminal diseases out there tonight. I'm not familiar with those, but I'm familiar with this one. This disease, alcoholism, will kill me stone dead, with or without a drink in my body. I don't need booze in my body to destroy my life. I almost don't need because I wouldn't accept these 12 spiritual principles. I don't want to turn this into a Q&A, but just if you're new here tonight, when I think back to my last year of drinking, the price, didn't ask, but the price that my disease demanded I pay. It's incredible. Job or a drink, job gone. Relationship or a drink, relationship are gone. Love or a drink, love gone. You put a drink between me and you without this program, you're always going to come in second place. That's the nature of doing business with an alcoholic like me. I mean, there's a wonderful place. I mean, it's funny how the paradoxes in AA, you surrender the win, you give it away to keep it. One of the biggest ones is alcoholism demands that I give up everything for one thing. And AA says, Paul, give up one thing and you will get everything. And that's been true. So my life, I took that drink. I know people get different stories. Alcohol, I live by the beach here in Rockaway Beach. You always tell the kids, never turn your back on the ocean. Always have to be facing because of like a rogue wave. Alcoholism came into my life like a rogue wave. It just engulfed me. I took that drink. Within 6 months, I'm getting my stomach pumped out in the local hospital on a school night. And they told my parents, it's a good job you brought him here. He probably would have died of alcoholic poisoning. I didn't even tap the brakes. And a promising soccer career out the window. I was years sober before I thought I gave up soccer. I didn't give up soccer. I love soccer. Alcoholism says, here, give me that ball. You don't need that anymore now you found me. Alcoholism takes everything. So my life's falling apart in Northern Ireland. And before I'm out of my teens, I'm taking daily drink. I have the money. I'm taking morning drink. I have the opportunity. I don't know if you know about Irish history, but I grew up through the troubles in Northern Ireland. We had like a low-level civil war going on. I was a working class Catholic on the wrong side of the tracks. I had a big chip on my shoulder. In fact, when I got to AA, a guy said to me, you know something, you're a well-balanced guy. I said, finally, somebody that knows what's going on around here. He says, yes, you got a chip on both shoulders, hated everything, you can always find the needle in the haystack. So I'm blaming Northern Ireland. I'm a working class Catholic on the wrong side of the tracks. And I come home to my father one night and I says, Dad, sit down. I got some bad news for you. He says, what is it? I said, I'm going to America and don't try to talk me out of it. He says, talk you out of it? I'll help you pack. On you go, Columbus. Let me give you some advice. Turn left at Greenland, you know? And like driftwood, I washed up in Rockaway Beach where I am tonight. And to make matters worse, I got a job as a bartender. Now I hold the distinct title in Rockaway Beach of being the worst bartender in the worst bar in Rockaway Beach. There was some pretty stiff competition, but I managed to hold them off. I'm looking at I worked in a bar. I don't know if you ever drank in a place like this. You know the sort of a bar, if you want to see a full set of teeth, you need 32 customers, you know, sort of high-end place we're talking about, you know. Forget about this bar had it all. Alcoholics, drug addicts, degenerate gamblers. And that was just the staff. That wasn't even the customers. I'm looking at all these beautiful ladies here tonight. Ladies' night in this bar. The women that come into this bar, they look like they put their makeup on when they were jumping up and down on a trampoline, like over here, back over here. But water finds its own level and so do alcoholics. And I fitted in like a glove. I used to work from 6 at night to 4 in the morning. I'm almost embarrassed to say this. I worked in a job where I could walk behind the stick at 6 o'clock at night and pour myself a drink and put it in the speed rack and drink all night for free. At the end of my drinking, I couldn't even get to that job. Fears, phobias, hang ups. What does Bill say? Pulling the mattress down to the lobby. I couldn't ride elevators. Forget about the subway. What's the old saying in AA? Booze give me the wings to fly, and then it took away the sky. The herbaceous creditor. Had my first hospital when I was 25 years of age and an alcoholic seizure. By the time I'm 27, I'm trying to stop drinking, but I can't stop. I can stop, but I can't stay stopped. You know what AA has given me that I can never repay them? They've given me something between me and the first drink. Before I came to AA, the thought of a drink would become an obsession. What's an obsession? An idea that crowds out all other ideas. And I would drink. And I had no way of breaking that sequence till I came to Alcoholics Anonymous. Because of AA, not me, because of you good people, I've got something between me and the first drink. You hear people saying AA, oh, you're just an arm's length away from a drink. I suppose that's true. Right here tonight, I don't know about tomorrow, but right here tonight, I'm 12 steps away from a drink. And that's a long way from when I first walked in here. But don't get me wrong, they're not 12 steps up to anything. They're 12 steps down to humility. I seen people drink again in AA that I thought would never drink again. And it could be me. I realize tonight, and I hope I don't forget tomorrow, I get a daily reprieve, not a lifetime pardon. The day that I wake up and think I'm staying sober is the day I'm going to get drunk again. But right here tonight, I'm 12 steps away from a drink. A dear friend of mine drank after a long time sobriety. He says, hey, you know how you get drunk again in AA? You give those steps back one step at a time. Take your will back in three. Become insane in two. So insane, you tell yourself an alcoholic. No, you're not an alcoholic. You're drunk in the first step. Tonight, I'm safe and protected like our big book promises. But I had a bit more drinking to do. It's ironic the worst years of my drinking, 27 to 30, were after I made a firm conviction not to drink. I almost went to the graveyard thinking I had a drinking problem. I found out now that I don't have a drinking problem. Our big book says a drinking problem is solved by not drinking. It gives a couple of examples: a medical reason, a romantic reason, a change of environment, and those people can stop or moderate. And then it talks about us. But what about the real alcoholic? I'll give you one vignette that sums this up. I collapsed in another seizure, woke up in the hospital. I was convulsing so bad that they put me in a restraining sheet. And they gave me some Librium to get me off the ceiling. They eventually took the restraining cuffs off, and there's a woman standing at the bedside with this on again, off again, alky relationship. And I took her hand, and I wasn't trying to be cinematic. And I said to her, it's obvious I can't drink. I know I can't drink. And I will never, ever drink again. That's it. It's done. It's over. What does Bill say in the story? This has to end. And then he goes on to say, self knowledge. Surely that's the answer. And then he realizes it's not. Just like I did. Knowing I'm an alcoholic will not keep a guy like me sober. If this is a one step program, I'm a dead man walking because I always drink again and I always will drink again. Thank God our first step states the problem, and then the brilliance of AA, they turn it around, and it's 11 steps of solution. Alcohol is not even mentioned again. Now, how I know this, I came out of that hospital. If you'd have put me a lie detector machine in the lobby, I would have passed with flying colors because I meant it at a visceral level. That's it. And I got a week. All of a sudden, I get this stone in my shoe. I don't know where it came from, but it's there all the time. I got 2 weeks. Now I've got this knot in my stomach, and it just gets tighter and tighter each day. 3 weeks go by, and I got 3 weeks. The top button of my shirt feels tight all the time. A month goes by, I'm talking through gritted teeth. You get fried eggs in the back of my neck. I submit to you, after 30 days without a drink, you can put me in any machine in the world and you will not find a trace of alcohol in my body. But I drank again, and I submit to you that's not a drinking problem, that's a living sober problem. And that's why you need 12 steps, 12 traditions, a home group, a sponsor, all working in concert to give me a daily reprieve. If you're new here tonight, we talk about the triangle. You can work that from your first meeting, the unity. We do together what I can't do alone. Service, get tethered to AA through service. Recovery, maybe the 12 steps seem like a foreign concept. We have slogans in AA. Easy does it, live and let live. They're like the banisters to the steps. I'm here to tell you, you can stay dry on two parts of the triangle. I've done. You can even stay dry on one part. I've done that. But if I want to be really free in AA, I got to put all three parts in, and you can do it from your very first night in Alcoholics Anonymous. So I drank again, and that woman said what non-alcoholics said: I got to get out of here before I end up in the asylum. And I said what alcoholics said: I don't need you. I don't need anybody. I drank for 2.5 more years after that. Bottoms to bottoms, Jesus Christ. The price of this disease demands. And I'm sitting again in an apartment drinking round the clock against my own will. The blinds are closed. The phone's off the hook. I'm drinking for unconscious time. I know it destroyed my life. It's not a mystery. I live by the Atlantic Ocean. I looked out the window and I thought my mother and father are 3,000 miles away. I'll never see them again. I love when someone's telling their story and it goes down and it goes down. And then they say what I believe is the most spiritual words in AA. And then. When I hear an alcoholic say I'm then, I sit up because I know their higher powers come to make sense. Everybody in here tonight, one day sober more, has had an amen moment. This is mine. I'm sitting in this drunk. Piece of paper goes under the door, had a man's telephone number on it. It's strange enough a piece of paper come to your door and it said what I'm hearing since I was 15. Paul, you're a nice guy. You drink too much. This man might be able to help you. The stranger thing is I called the number because I'm Irish. I'm stoic. I'm a wall builder. I'm a secret keeper. Totally alien to my personality. There was a, like they said in the old Nassau, there was a window of opportunity. And I called that number before my ego closed that window. And this woman answered the phone. She was a great member of Al Anon. And she called her husband. He came to the phone. He asked me where I was. I told him. He said, me and another man's coming to your apartment. We'll be there in 20 minutes. And I thought they were going to come to my apartment and talk to me about my drinking. Because back then, that's how the conversation would go. Paul, we need to talk to you about your drinking. Friends, family, loved ones. And I'd sit there like the dog in the window. You're right. Yes, oh, yes, you're right. And as they're talking to me, I'm thinking, I wish they'd go away so I could go back drinking again. It makes perfect sense to me now that God in his wisdom would use alcoholics to get alcoholics sober because I listen to nobody, but I listen with you. Because when you talk about you, I find out about me. Is there any coincidence Lois Wilson's biography was called When Love Is Not Enough? If love could have got me sober, I'd have been sober a long time before AA, but it didn't. These two men came to my apartment, two regular guys in the old South Bronx group here in New York. And that group had a mantra: we don't give up on anybody. And I was sitting there like the classic man in the bed. I didn't go to Skid Row, but I brought Skid Row to me. You know, bottles all over the place. You know how we live. And these two men sat down, and I thought they were going to talk about my drinking. But here's the difference. I was going to say the magic, but magic means it's a trick, and this is no trick. The mystery unfolded, or the mystical. These two men sat down and they didn't talk about my drinking. They talked about their drinking. And they told story after story of their drinking. Isn't that what Dr. Bob said? He met Bill Wilson. It was the first human being he ever met that he felt understood him, and not because he read in a book somewhere. What's our most prized possession in AA? Identification. We're uniquely qualified to help each other. I told these two men in 20 minutes something I hadn't even told myself. I coughed up the big fur ball and I said, I can't stop drinking. The last time they put me in a hospital, I was drinking the first day I got out of the hospital. What's wrong with me? And Jerry put his arm around me. He's passed on now. I could cry thinking about him tonight. And he says, Paul, help is on the way. If you're new here tonight and you have found AA or AA has found you, let me put my arm around you and tell you, help is on the way. And you never have to live one more day than the way you've been living now that you've found AA and AA has found you. And my life can be measured before that moment and after that moment. Now, Charm, you let me know how long I have left here. I don't want to go over. I lost track of time. 36 hours later, I got put in the car and I got brought to my first meeting of Alcoholics Anonymous. I was at a regular New York City meeting, two speakers and a leader. I don't know who spoke. I don't know what they said. I don't know what you said, but I remember how you made me feel. I fell in love with AA. I know this is not everybody's experience, but I fell in love with AA on our first date. I'm so glad there wasn't a guy with a clipboard saying, Paul, check the box for what you want. And I checked the box for not drinking. I would have shortchanged myself. I got that, but I got a lot more. I got me back, I got you back, and I got him back. And I've lost a whole lot. Has my life been perfect this last 33 odd years? Absolutely not. If you're new here tonight, getting sober is probably the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life, except one other thing, drink yourself to death. And the roller coaster goes up and the roller coaster goes down. Just don't get off. Stay on. Ride it out. We throw the word miracle around a lot in there, but I don't think it's ubiquitous. What is a miracle? It's a complete reversal or upheaval of the laws of nature. It's in my nature tonight to be lying drunk somewhere, and I'm not. Now, how did that happen? It happened because of me. It happened because of you good people and this program. And this is not a sales pitch. If you're new here tonight, there's a miracle here with your name on it. Nobody can take it from you, or nobody can take it for you. Come in. George Eliot, the writer, says, it's never too late to live the life you're meant to live. And Alcoholics Anonymous will allow you to live the life like your higher power always wants you to live before drink to get on a different road. I'm sitting here tonight and through a lot of things in sobriety over the years. I'll just end on this, And through a divorce at 20 years sober, my God, resentment to here, habit up to here, another guy involved. But here's the wonderful thing. I had a 9-year-old daughter at the time. Here's the wonderful thing. Now that I've found AA or A has found me, I never have to go through anything alone again. If I'm going through something alone, it's because I want to. Gets you in trouble in AA when you're sober for a while? Spiritual pride. How can I go to my home group at 20 years sober and tell them my life's falling apart? Well, I don't need to do a PowerPoint presentation, but somebody has to know what time of day it is in my spiritual world. How's the rubber meeting the road? And thank God going through that difficult time, my sponsor actually says, Paul, I'm going to tell you something. There's two things can happen here. This can kick you into AA or this can kick you out of AA. And it's usually which way you're facing. Thank God I was facing in. Got deeper into AA. Got through that difficult time. And my sponsor would tell me things like, take the high road. I don't want to take the high road. Thank God I took the high road. That was 20 years ago. My daughter was 9, she's 21 now. 9 years ago. I live 5 blocks away from my ex-wife. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because of taking actions I didn't want to take and got results I couldn't deny. You know where I'm going to spend Thanksgiving? With my ex-wife and the guy she married. And I'll be there with my wife and my new little daughter. And my daughter, who was 9 at the time of that divorce, is 21 today. When I told her, listen, we're all going to come to your house for Thanksgiving, she was overjoyed. Use people. Because I didn't listen to myself. I spoke with my sponsor. I was transparent. I took actions I didn't want to take. I took actions I didn't believe in and got results I couldn't deny. I know that was 11 years ago. It reminds me that God doesn't wear a wristwatch and he's never late. And here's the crazy thing about it. I'm actually looking forward to going there. I would check on my sponsor. I might have to bring a food taster with me. I might bring the dog and keep him under the table. Here, try this turkey and make sure it's all right before I eat it. I'm just kidding. It's all good. It's all good because of AA. Everything that's good in my life today is because I'm a sober member of Alcoholics Anonymous. You show me how to live right. Do I make mistakes? God, do I make mistakes? Just early on in the night, I'm making amends to my wife. 15 minutes before the meeting started. The words are going across the kitchen. I'm trying to put them back in my mouth again. And I said I was sorry and I gave her a hug. And we move on down the road of happy destiny. And that's another line I misquoted. He said, the road to happy destiny. It doesn't say that. It says the road of happy destiny. If you're sober one day tonight, look down. You're on the road with us. I'm just ending this story, now I'll turn it back to Karen. There's a story, and some people would say it's a religious story. It's really a spiritual story. And it's a story of the prodigal son. We're all prodigal sons and prodigal daughters. And the story goes, the guy gets his inheritance and he goes off and he burns his life on the ground. And his father thinks he's dead. He goes back home and his father finds out he's alive. He says, oh my God, I thought my son was dead. So it was a big party for his son. I read that story many times. It says the son comes up to the house. It never actually says if he goes in. If you're new here tonight, don't do what I did for a couple of years in AA. I stood outside looking through the window. If you're here tonight, you've been called to the spiritual banquet. Don't do what I did, standing looking through the window, or don't do what I did, come in and just wait for crumbs on the table. Come all the way in, sit all the way down. The higher power of AA is a higher power of abundance. Now, your abundance might look different than mine, but when I'm standing looking through the window or standing in the corner waiting for crumbs, the abundance cannot happen. Come all the way in, sit all the way down, and partake of everything that's an offer in AA, because everything in AA is good. There's an old timer in Brooklyn passed away many years ago. And he used to say something that was so simple but so profound. He said, in Alcoholics Anonymous, there is no end to the good. And that's been my experience in AA. And I would like to leave you with a few words from the place of my birth. May the road rise to meet you. May the wind be always at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and the rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Thank you so much tonight, guys. That's all I'll say.